including people of all abilities in the workforce. Today, we will be discussing the importance of inclusion of people with disabilities in the workplace, specifically in meetings. We will briefly discuss problems faced by people with disabilities in the workplace, the importance of inclusion, strategies to evaluate meetings for inclusiveness, and conclude by reflecting on best practices and positive impacts of inclusion. Only 17.9% of people with disabilities are employed in the U.S. workforce, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Even for those employed, there are many barriers to full and meaningful employment. This presentation will discuss ways to make your workplace and meeting more accessible. Including people of all abilities within your workforce not only benefits your employees, it benefits the company and customers as a whole. Studies show that people with disabilities take less sick days and stay with companies longer than those without disabilities. No matter the group of people your company caters to, people with disabilities are included in that group. People with disabilities offer valuable insights to make your company's products and services accessible to all. They're valuable employees who make products better and offer creative insights and solutions. Barriers within the workplace can be summed into these 5 categories. Attitudes towards disabled people are one of the most cited reasons for barriers within the workplace. People's assumptions about what someone is or is not capable of is not only unfair but condescending. Assuming a person with a speech impediment cannot understand what you're saying would be an example of this. Systemic practices and policies that prevent people from participating within the workplace are some of the most difficult aspects to identify, notice, and change. Make time to reflect on your company's policies and flexibility and be open to suggestions and ways of improvement. One of the most important ways to create an accessible workplace is to listen to people with disabilities. Architectural limitations include physical elements of the workplace that may limit participation. For example, having an unfriendly sensory environment, such as bright lights or loud noises. Communication is what creates an effective and efficient workplace. It's the way we communicate expectations for productivity. Poorly formatted information, such as fonts, that cannot be read due to size or style cause limitations in people's ability to read information and understand, especially for those with learning differences or limited vision. Finally, technology creates many accessible features. However, using it incorrectly can make barriers to access. Make sure required technologies are adaptable to people's needs. For example, making videos come with accurate closed captioning options is a must. These are good starting places to evaluate the barriers that may exist in the workplace, and addressing these issues is a great way to begin to create an accessible work environment. Some checks for an accessible meeting. First of all, start with an accessible invitation that can be viewed on many platforms. During the invitation, ask about any accommodations needed for the meeting: wheelchair access, closed captioning, or color blindness. Double check that your venue supports these needs and make adjustments if necessary. Try and provide these materials ahead of time to allow participants to follow along and make needed changes to the format before the day of the meeting. This enhances everyone's understanding and comfort and allows for full participation. During the meeting, be sure to designate somebody in charge of accessibility, especially for a large event. Describe things in multiple ways using visual and auditory cues. Finally, always be open to inputs and critiques about ways to improve. The best way to improve is to listen and take that information for next time. Also, remember to keep in mind the barriers to access we discussed on the last slide to evaluate how accessible your meeting is. I'd like to end with a quote from Judith Heumann. The truth is, the status quo loves to say no. It's the easiest thing in the world to say no, especially in the world of business and finance. But for the first time, we were discussing civil rights, and no other civil rights issue has ever been questioned because of the cost. Remember, disability issues are not only an accessibility issue, an issue of comfort, they're a civil rights issue. Instead of considering the cost to creating an accessible workplace, consider the benefits created for everyone when we prioritize including people. It makes your company better by considering a wide customer base, and it makes your employees more happy and more fulfilled. Everybody's quality of life is improved when we take the time to welcome people of all abilities into our workforce. Thank you. For more resources, please check out what I've included here. They come from disability rights advocates, as well as some checklists from many sources on how to create an accessible meeting. Have a wonderful day.